Okay, so welcome to the Creative KickstART class. I'm so glad to have you. And we've got a good group of people here today, some newbies and some people that have been around a couple times, so it's great. And if you don't have any painting experience, that's actually better than having a lot of experience, so I can mold you into what I need you to be. So anyways, what I was going to go through, as I usually do, is make sure you have your supplies, because I know when you don't do this all the time, I'm going to let one more person in here. You want to make sure you have everything. So what you want to start with is your canvas. Check that box. Make sure you have a rag of some sorts. Oh, we got another. They're pouring in. They're pouring in. Julie's in too. Okay, let me get that one. All right. So, like I said, make sure you have your canvas, some sort of a rag. One, this might be the last one. Lynn Hall is coming in. All right, I think we've got everybody. And let me just, and if you, again, like I said, if you want to unmute yourself, that's fine. Lynn's here, Julie's here, everybody, good job. Okay, I think we've got everybody now. All right, so rag, canvas, paint brushes, a variety of sizes. Again, if you don't have the exact right size, don't worry about it. We're probably going to mostly work with this kind of fluffy, pointy one, if you can see that okay. And then I would like to have you use a palette knife if you have that. If not, we'll work around it. Then you want to have access to water, okay, like a little bowl of water. And the project. So this is what we're going to do. This is a piece I sold a while ago, so I did print it out. So if it looks a little wonky, it's because it's been printed. And when I transfer the camera over, you'll be able to see it easy. But I'm going to lay it down here. Okay. Here's a little mini version of what we're going to do if you want to do something little like that. What I'm going to do in this class is use different paints that I have on hand that are primarily primary colors. So, you know, yellow, green, white, black. I do have some brown, and I did mention for the members that I have this turquoise color. If you didn't get it, not a problem. But if you did, use this turquoise because that's the base of this particular painting. But if not, we'll blend a color to get that turquoise feel. Okay, no, I got one more person. Here we go. Susan. Let's say hi to Susan and Grace. All right. Boy, we've got a packed house. Hey, Susan. Hey, Grace. How's it going? Okay. So, again, if you have questions, please let me know. Hey, Grace. I've got you all muted, but I can unmute you if it's not too distracting for everybody. And let's start with a quick breathing exercise, okay, just to get us all kind of together. So I'm kind of hunched over, so if everybody kind of sits up, just, I don't know if anybody sings, just let it all rip, right? Just kind of shake it out, right? Good. And smile. And I take a deep breath, breathe in. Oh gosh, and we made it, right? Take another deep breath in. And let it out. Does that feel better? Don't you all of a sudden feel like now you're here and now you're centered and you're with me for a little bit? And I welcome you and I'm so glad to have you. So I am going to turn the camera over to my desk so that you can see what I'm doing over here. So you won't see my face, but that's okay because you're going to see the project, okay? So I want to make sure that you can see, okay? So here's the project down here. Now, if you have a problem seeing it, let me know. But the other thing is, what you want to make sure you know is that I'm going to go through it step by step with you, okay? So the first thing you want to do is get your one canvas, and the first decision you want to make is if you want to orient it up and down like this, or if you want to tilt it like this. I'm going to teach the class like this, okay? So the first thing you want to do is get some paint, I have a big wad of white. I'm gonna put that out on my palette. Now, if you don't have one of these plastic palettes, use a paper towel, not a paper towel, but a paper plate, something like that would work well, okay? So you want to put that on there. Let me admit the other two that are waiting. There we go. Okay, so I think we've got everybody in there. All right, so the first thing, all we're gonna do at this point is put the white paint on the palette, maybe a paper plate or whatever you have, okay? Then I want you to get a little black. So if you have a tiny bit of black, squirt that on your palette, okay? All right. And then if you have a little bit of brown, get some brown and squirt that out too. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. So I have a little bit of brown, a little bit of black, and quite a bit of white on my palette, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is create the background. I'm going to start with a gray sort of background because some of you don't have this turquoise color that I was talking about. So I want to make sure everybody kind of starts at the same place, okay? So I'm going to take the brown and the black, and if you see, it's on my palette knife right there, and I'm going to load it in with the white. So all of it's on my palette knife right now, okay? Then I'm going to, if you've ever frosted a cake, it's really like frosting a cake. See how dark it is? I just want you to smooth it right across. If you feel like it's too dark, just add in a little bit more white because the goal is you want the background to be a grayish color, okay?
Jill, if we don't have a palette knife, could we use a plastic knife? Like
you probably could. And in fact, if you don't want to use a palette knife, let me get, what I would suggest you get is a bigger brush like this.
Okay.
Okay. And then what you do, and I'll show you, you just will smooth that paint right across, just up and down. So anybody who doesn't have a palette knife, and I appreciate you asking that question, it's always great to have questions. Just, if you notice some of this is palette knife, and then I'm just going to use this brush, and I'm just going to take what's on the canvas, and it's not very thick, and I'm going to spread it all across. Okay, now I'm going to put that big brush down, and I'm going to go back to using the palette knife, because I think a lot of folks do have the palette knife. So one thing when you're using the palette knife, you want to just let it kind of glide over the canvas, okay? So just let it kind of glide right over. And if you notice, it kind of leaves like little, almost like knotted sort of empty spots. That's okay. It makes it look cooler in my mind. Okay, make sure you can see. See if I can get the light right. One thing you want to make sure is that it's not too heavy in the background. So you don't want to have too much paint. So put a layer on and then just go ahead and let it dry up a little bit. Now, if you have that turquoise, go ahead and squirt out a little bit of turquoise. If you don't, we're going to make it, okay? So you make turquoise by getting a little bit of yellow. So whatever yellow you have, grab some yellow, squirt that, and then a little bit of green, okay? Put a little green together. And really it doesn't matter how much of each, we'll kind of play with it. And then grab some blue. I need to reach into my blue pile here. Okay. This turquoise really is a blend of yellow, green, and blue, if you can see that on my palette here, okay? Then, if you have that palette knife, go ahead and make sure you wipe it off. And if you don't, get a smaller brush and you want to mix them together a little bit. So mix all three of those colors together and see what kind of comes out. Okay, mine's looking a bit like a bright grassy sort of green. It's a little bit too bright for me. But remember we had a little bit of brown. Let's add just a tiny bit of brown to it to tone it down. Okay, then I'm going to add a little bit of white. Now one thing with color mixing is that sometimes it takes a little paint to really build it up. Now right now what's happening with me is I've got somewhat of a mint color, okay? So I need to really grab into the blue and get a lot more blue going. So if you're finding it's going a little too mint, it's more blue than anything else, okay? So squirt out a little bit more blue and see what you come up with. And have fun with it, really. Just kind of blend it around. Okay. There we go. We're starting to get kind of a turquoisey sort of color. And frankly, it doesn't have to be exactly turquoise, but a color blue that you like, if that's the background you want to do, okay? Does anybody have any questions? Susan, I saw you jumped on. You're there. Great. I'm glad everybody's here. Okay. So does everybody, if you want to do thumbs up or however you want to do it, let me know if you've got some blue kind of mixed up and you're happy with your blue. Somewhat happy. Gigi, how about you? Do you have your blue mixed up?
We've got our blue.
Okay, good job. All right. Okay, so if you have your blue, let's take your palette knife and put it on the blue, okay? And I want you to start somewhat at the bottom here and just work that blue right on top of the gray that you did before, okay? And if you just have a brush, that's fine. You can use a brush. Make sure your brush, if you are using it, and I'm going to show you, make sure it's kind of dry. You don't want it to be too wet if you're using the brush. So then you can just kind of push that blue up into the canvas, okay? And like I always say, whenever I do a class, every single painting turns out differently. So if I were to do this painting that I did again, it's going to be completely different, even though it's me who's doing it, right? So I'm going to go back to the palette knife for those of you who are using a palette knife. Okay. So again, pick up the blue and start it at the bottom and push it up. And so when I'm using the palette knife, if you notice, I'm taking it flat and I'm almost like icing a cake. Just slide it across, okay? Slide it across canvas. You don't want to go up and down. You want to have it flat, okay? Remember, if anybody has any questions, just jump right in. You have the ability to unmute yourself and don't feel like you're interrupting or anything, okay? So just now I want you to pull that color up even further. Pull it up further. And now, even if you do have a palette knife or not, and you want to use a bigger brush, I would suggest getting a brush, one of your bigger brushes. I pulled out this jumbo one. It's probably a little bit too big, but let me show you. This guy. If you use a big one, that's great. But what I want you to do is distribute the blue that's on the canvas. And so it's almost like you're dusting the canvas. So you're just kind of going back and forth, taking that blue and moving it across the canvas, just like that, okay? And the goal is you Everybody see that okay? I'm gonna try one thing and see if the light's better.
So I lost you for a second. You froze on me. What?
Oh, sure. Yep. Hey, Lynn.
Got from the
So
bottom.
what we're doing is we're gonna take the palette knife or the brush, if you're using a brush, and have more of the blue down at the bottom, and then bring it up to the top. So there's a little bit of blue and a little bit of gray and a little white in there. And if you don't have a palette knife, just use the brush to just kind of pull the paint up. Okay. Oh, it looks like somebody needs to come back in. Okay. Oops. Julie. Julie, you're back in? Oh, there she is. Okay, you're back. Okay. Did your phone freeze up on you? Oops, gotta unmute you.
Computer, my internet just went out in my house for a minute.
Oh, don't you hate that? Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
well, when I have 150 students, it's really bad. So.
Oh, that's the that's the worst.
This
You
one's
gotta
so bad.
laugh about it. I know. That's what I said to my husband. I said, "Yeah, we've got this thing, you know, right on target." But then the second you think you do, nope, it all falls apart.
All right.
So I don't know where you stopped.
I'm here.
Okay, perfect. So now what I want you to do is get some blue. Okay.
You want
And
turquoise? Is that what you want?
if you've got turquoise, that would be great. Yeah, either one of those that you like. And I want you to brush or use a palette knife, have it darker at the bottom and lighter at the top.
So am I mixing it with, I'm sorry, ladies, that I'm catching up. Am I mixing it with some black or am I mixing it with white?
I would just, with yours, since you have turquoise, I would go straight turquoise, the straight blue.
Pull it down?
What was that? Yeah, actually pull it all the way up.
Up.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, if I appreciate that if anybody gets locked out or frozen, just let me know because I want to make sure that you get.
Yeah, I emailed you. Did you get the email?
No, I looked down at my phone and I saw it because I saw
Thank
the
you.
notification. Sure. Because that's the trouble. You start going and then you don't see what's happening in the side button.
Do you have, not that I'm an expert, do you have your set up with a waiting room?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And next time I might not because we have a big group this time. Okay. So everybody's got the blue in and then they've got it a little bit lighter at the top, right? So it's kind of a slow move up. Now, one thing that I said earlier that I want to make sure, and Julie, I'm going to mute you. If you need me, unmute yourself. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. One thing you want to make sure is that you do it in such a way that it dries. You don't want to overload the canvas with too much paint. We're using acrylics, and acrylics are made with plastic, and plastic dries really quick, but you want to make sure that every layer does dry. Now, if you notice on my piece right here, the one I did, I'm just going to hold it up. This is the reference image, okay? This one, it's a little bit darker down here, and it's a little lighter up here, and it's not as variegated, for lack of a better word. So what you want to do is smooth it out just a little bit. So I want you, if yours looks like this, smooth out the color a little bit so the color is a little bit more distributed, okay? So add maybe a little blue. You can dip into the white and the brown, maybe add some of that. And this is where I would use your brush, okay? Just kind of blend it a little bit because when we go to put the flowers on there, we want them to pop off the canvas. You don't want them to get stuck in the cracks of the white, okay? If anybody knows me, they know I'm not very technical, so bear with me. And again, if anybody's got questions, and I would like to actually, as we're going, if should I do like call on you sort of thing? If you hold up your canvas so I can see how it's going. Gigi, you know I'm going to call on you. Can you hold it up? Oh, there you go. Okay, good. You've got it. Good, 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 good. How about Catherine? Do you want to hold yours up? Okay, good. Yeah, we've got it. And what I would say is bring that blue up a little bit more. Really kind of get some saturated color going. Okay, let's see who else. Cindy, you doing okay? Heidi, how about you? Are you doing okay? Yeah, there you go. All right. All right, and Cindy, smooth that out a little bit, okay? Maybe just put a little water on your brush. That's a great way to get the paint to glide, okay? And Danielle, how are you doing over there? Good. Yeah, that looks good. And now, Danielle, if you want to have, oh, there you go. Cool. I like it. See, I like having a little bit of variation in the background. So you want it smooth, but not so smooth that it's like muddy, right? Grace, how are you doing? Let's see. Turn it around. I have to see. Nope. Oh, there you go. Nice. All right. Very good. Okay. So everybody's busy working hard. I like it. And Susan, I don't see you.
I don't know why. I mean, I have
know.
video going on, so I don't know.
Well, that's too bad. I miss seeing you.
I know.
You're my very first KickstART person. You're the
Yeah, it says I can stop video, so it must mean that video's going.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
have no idea.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're here. So just keep kind of working on that background. Mine's looking a lot of like there's a lot of blue, not too much gray. Okay. So keep working on that, and I'm gonna one thing here. Okay. And as you're working, if you notice the edges of my canvas are white, and I always say that I leave those white for now because a lot of times they can get on you, the paint gets on you easier when it's wet. We can do the edges at the very end if we'd like, but that's your call, okay? So everybody has a background. You might want to touch it and see if it's kind of still tacky. If it's super, super wet, let it dry for a minute, okay? I don't want you to work on it with it being super wet because then you're going to get frustrated.
I'm Jill.
Yes.
I've only been working all day on my computer, but anyway, my webcam is on my laptop, and my laptop is closed.
That's why.
So,
Okay.
I'm so stupid. Oh well.
I appreciate that because usually when it comes to technical things, it's always my
Oh,
fault. It
oh
just
yeah. It's user error. So yeah. Next time I'll make sure my laptop's open. I can't do it now.
That's okay. Well, now the mystery is solved. Okay. Lynn, how are you doing? Did you get the color on the background? Let's see what it looks like. Nice. Okay. Good, good, good. All right. Does it feel like it's dry, a little bit dry to the touch, or does it feel really, really wet?
No, it feels dry.
Oh,
I
good.
just think I used too much paint at the beginning.
Yep. Okay. Okay, Angie, yours looks good too. Yeah, very good. Now, Angie, are you gonna do yours up and down like this? Okay, okay, good to know. All right, good. All right. So now what we're going to do, we are going to start doing the hydrangea flowers, okay? What I would suggest you use is a paintbrush that's like this. It's kind of round, like it's a little bit long. It's a little, like a little stubby guy. See it? Okay. So what you want to do, if you still have white on your palette, so you want to dip your brush into the white. And then before you do anything, you kind of want to figure out where you're going to put the flowers. I'm thinking right in here. So a few bunches right in here. You're going to probably avoid this area over here just because you want to have a visual break. Okay, so I'm going to lay it down. So doing hydrangeas are so relaxing because really all you're doing are little circles. Okay. So I'm going to hold it up I'm just going to do a little tiny circle. Just kind of fill in. It's almost like you're marking the page by laying your brush down and pushing it around. Just push it around. So it's just white, okay? So I'm just kind of making little marks. And I only loaded my brush one time, and I'm using what's on my brush. And if you notice, in some sections, it's going to be thicker white, and in other sections, it's going to be a little bit more blurred out white. Okay. Can you see how that's coming? So one thing you want to do, and remember when you're doing hydrangeas, you want to do a little bit and let it get bigger, and then go over to the other side, do a little bit and make it big, but not too big, because you can always make them bigger, but you can't make them smaller, really. You can, but it gets trickier, okay? So I started making one. Now here's a deal. You can put a little bit of water on your brush, dip it, there's a little trick, dip it back into that blue, okay? So see how I've got a little bit of blue on my brush and a little bit of white. I want you to use that to make the flowers now. So some of the flowers are going to have like a little bit of a blue hint, okay? And at the end, we're going to add more white on top of that blue, okay? I want you to rinse your brush out. I want you to dip it back into this straight white, okay? So you've got a big blob of white. And now we've got one little section of flower. Now we're going to move over and do a little other section of flower. It's not going to be really big, just a little bit, okay? So anybody needs to see it, you're just making a little, almost like a little half circle and then filling it in. Okay.
Jill,
Yes.
so you're like totally having them on top of each other, looks like.
Yes, all
Okay.
these little white circles are piled on top of each other. And if you can see here, see, there's a little bit of a lighter white and a little brighter white, but they're all circles, they're all piled on top of each other. Now, if you look at a hydrangea, you're going to really see the individual tiny little petals, but we're doing an abstract hydrangea. We're not going to make it very literal. This is just a loose hydrangea, okay? So what I did was I started one here, and I started a little baby one here. And before I get too far, I want to start one down here, just so I can kind of establish where they're going to go, okay? And again, don't forget, you can pick up a little bit of blue, kind of add that onto the flowers. And then keep picking up the white. Cindy, how are you doing? Good? Good. Remember, if anybody has a question, feel free to unmute yourself. If you're confused or whatever, you have comments, you hate hydrangeas, whatever. And you know, the other thing is you're always allowed to have wine during these classes. So if you want to be drinking, that is your call. I never do, because it would just be a disaster if I did. Okay, just keep going. So see how I've got these three, starting to be three sort of sections, right? I'm going to do another one over here, okay? And yours is going to come out different than mine, just like my original came out different than this one. But that's okay, because really you're just kind of going with it. Okay, I'm going to lay it flat. See if that, you guys can see it okay. Okay. So what I want you to do is just keep adding the little round circles. And what I do at this point is I kind of hop from one bunch of flowers to the other, okay? The other thing you can do is get a little bit of black and mix up a pile of gray. So a little bit of white, a little black, and mix up a little pile of gray. And you can make a couple flowers that are a little bit gray, and then you can add white on top of that, because then it gives it just a little bit of dimension when you go to add that final layer of white on top. Okay. So what I'm doing, right now I've got 4 flowers, and I'm going to start kind of merging them on top of each other. So they all are individual bunches, but they're kind of grouped all together. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm going to put my brush down, and I'm going to turn the camera to you guys, and I want to see how you're all doing. Okay, I'm back. Okay, does anybody want to show me your pictures? Oh, good. Okay, Angie, that looks good. That's good. And what I would do is start bringing them closer together.
Where should I put the 4th one?
I would
Here?
put it, yeah, right where your finger is, right in between those 2 guys. Kind of
Okay.
clump them together.
Okay.
You see how this one, they're starting to be clumped together. And
Okay.
Oh, that's good, Julie. Good, good, good. All right. Susan. Oh, there you go. Hey, Susan. I see you. Okay, hold up your painting and let me see. Good. All right, that's good. I like it. Okay, Danielle and Mia. Oh, I like it. I like it. And Danielle, I would make yours a little bit bigger. Instead of going towards the one side, start kind of merging into the center a little bit. Oh, that's good, Cindy. I like it. They both look good. Nice. Okay. Gigi, you want to show me? Yeah, okay, Gigi, give me a bigger footprint, right? I know you like little. Give me something bigger. Okay, Lynn, let's see yours. Nice. Okay, so Lynn, what I would do, be a little bit more reckless and not so precise. So start, right? I know, I don't know you, but I know you, right? You're precise, I can tell. So let it rip, all right? Let's see, who else have I not picked on yet? Everybody? Melissa, I see you. Let's see what you got. Oh, that's good. I like it. All right. So, Melissa, yours is reading is exactly 4. Whenever you do floral arranging in art or whatever, you always want sets of 3, 5, 1 odd numbers. So right now I have 4, but it's going to start reading as 3 or 5 based on the way I kind of expand it. Okay. So that's just a little feedback. And Catherine, let me see yours. I don't think I got a chance to see yours yet. Oh yeah, that looks good. That looks good. Really good. Good, good. Okay, iPad 2. I don't know your name because it's not showing up as somebody's name, so I'm gonna have to get you later. Okay.
Is it me?
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Good to see you. So is this?
That looks great. It looks really good. Yeah. And you know, there is a way if you go on your name, you can like, if you hover over your name on the participant section, you can rename yourself if you ever feel like doing that.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my art so you can see it, okay? I wanna make sure you guys can really see. Okay. Let's see if this is gonna help. It might not. Okay, you see that a little bit better? Here's the original down here, so you can see that too. So keep working on those little flowers, okay? And if you have questions, let me know, but really you're just kind of sprouting, kind of moving the white. And remember, you can mix a little blue with it to give it a little dimension. Now, here's the deal. You want more of the white, the bright white, kind of on the outer edges, and maybe a little bit of the, say, gray or blue, kind of as a tucked in sort of inner color, right? So you want the highlight to be on the outer edge. So you can go back over these and just kind of fluff them a little bit. Fluff them, for lack of a better word. There you go. Okay. Now the reason I put it kind of off to the side is I think it's just more interesting that way. If you put the hydrangeas right down the center, you could do that and they'd be fine, but they might not be as interesting as they are just kind of off to the side, right? So when you start merging them, what you want to make sure that you have individual bunches, that they don't start looking like one big bunch, okay? You want to make sure they all have their own little individual clusters. Because what happens sometimes is that you start going and it looks like one big puff cloud, right? So you want to make sure there's a couple different sections, okay? Now what I'm going to have you do is let's let these dry up, okay? And we're going to mix some color to start putting some leaves in there, okay? So we're going to let the puff balls dry. We're going to go back to the puff balls, but just for now, let's let those guys dry a little bit. Now, if you're like me, you like using the colors that you already have. Right now, if you remember, when I was mixing the turquoise, I started making a bit of a green because I had yellow and I had blue. And I could have used the green right out of the tube, but I kind of like mixing my own. So I did, and I still have some left. So if you have a little bit of yellow and a little bit of blue and you want to make your own, go ahead and mix it up, or you can use the green straight from the tube. It's your call. Or if you want to just put a little green out, a little extra, you can do that too.
What brush are we using?
Let's see, I would probably say when we go to do the leaves, use this angled brush, and let me show you. See how it kind of angles up?
Is it small or medium, would you say?
A small probably is a good one, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And if you don't have that, I would stick with the same one brush that we've been using for the flowers. You can still use that too. Either one works. And what I was going to say with the green is that sometimes I like to tone the green down a little bit. So I have this yellow ochre. It's kind of like a mustardy yellow. I like that with the green because it kind of tones it down a little bit and it's not such a garish green. And sometimes what I'll do is put a little black in there, make it a little bit more olivey. I tend to like an olive green better than a bright green. So feel free to mix up some colors and have fun with the colors. I'm just mixing up what I've got here. So right now I've got this sort of bright green here, and then I have this sort of olivey green. And I also like to use a green that's going to go with the blue that I've got working, right? But as I say, in nature, no colors clash. right? So we're just going to run with that. Okay, so what we're going to do, if you have this brush, I'm going to flip my canvas just for demo. I'm going to put my brush into the paint. And here's a little something. I take the brush and I swipe it back and forth on the paint, okay? And it's really loaded, but not loaded too much. I'm gonna take this, and I have done videos before where we've practiced leaves, but I just want, if you have a canvas, you can flip it to the back side so you can practice, because I don't want you to practice on the front if all of a sudden you're concerned that you don't like the leaf, okay? So what you want to do is start here and just make a little arch, kind of like an eyebrow. It almost looks like an eyebrow, okay? I need a little bit more water on my brush. You want it to kind of be loose. So we're going to make a little arch, almost like an eyebrow arch. Then you're going to go to the tip and make another eyebrow arch. So it almost looks like an eyeball, right? Then you're going to do a line right down the center. Can you see that okay? Okay. And I'm just going to put a little bit more water on my brush. And this is just practice. I'm going to fill in that leaf. Okay. Just going to fill in the leaf. And again, if you don't like your brush, don't use it. Like this brush is kind of bugging me. So I'm going to go back to that brush we used for the flowers. Because really any brush will work. Okay. You just want to. So the first thing to do when you do a leaf petal is you make sure your brush is got the paint on it and it's very watery. So you put your brush down and you make an arch. So think of an eyebrow. Okay, so you just make a little arch and you start at the top here and make another arch. And then you can kind of point it. See how I put a little tail at the end there? Okay, then I want you to just kind of go in the center and then fill it in. Okay. And then fill the whole thing in. So it's basically, think of it as an oval, right? Okay, so now I'm going to go on to my actual canvas. And we've got it here. So what I would suggest doing, if you've got like a little dent right here, put a little leaf right here. So you start inside and bring it up. You'll see how there's a little leaf there. And if you would like to find a little lighter green, maybe you want to put a little white, you can do that too, okay? There's one little leaf, if you can see it okay. See it okay, sort of? I'm actually going to make my leaf just a little bit darker so that you can see it better, okay? And I'm going to put it down here. See if there's a way to see it better. So you can highlight and low light. So you want to put a little bit of extra darker green at the top. And then just kind of give it a little tail there. And the cool thing is if you put a leaf in and you don't like where you put it, you can always put a little flower. You can go back in and put a little flower right on top of it like it's grown inside. Do you see what I'm saying? Just kind of bury it, right? Now, if I were going to put on another leaf on mine, I would probably put one down here. I'd probably put one down here. So remember, think of it as like a little eyebrow. So it's kind of like a little or a half circle. And then close it up. See how I've got two. Can everybody see the leaves okay? Yeah. So remember, I've got two leaves, so now I'm probably going to want to put three, because remember that little pesky thing, we want to have odd numbers. So on mine, I'm probably going to bring it down here. Just going to bring it off to the side. Okay. Remember, if you want to add a little flower on top of the leaf just to kind of cover it up or, you know, make it look like it's buried in there, you can do that. Okay, so I'm going to come back to you guys. Bear with me. Here I am. Okay. All right. So how are your leaves coming? Does anybody want to show me their leaves? Is everybody working on them? Oh yeah, that's perfect. That's good, Angie. That's good. Yeah, good. And I'll hold up mine while, see if you can see it better this way. Okay. Oh yeah, that's good, Danielle. Yes. And now see how, let me put yours up there again, Danielle. Okay, I'm going to try to show you on yours, like up in this region, puff your flower up a little bit because right now it's kind of down. So have it go into the center upper part. Susan, do you want to show me yours?
Not yet. My leaves are weird.
Oh, that's okay. Gigi, that is looking good, Gigi. Okay, so yeah, Susan, you're off the hook for now.
Good.
And remember, if you want to add a little yellow to your leaf, that gives it a little pop of color too. You can add a little bit of yellow. Mia, how's yours coming? Cool, cool, cool. I like it. Yep. Cindy, how you doing?
Can you see mine?
Yeah, that looks good. That's good.
No, they look odd.
Just
but that's all
twist
right.
them. So what you want to do,
Yeah.
you want to, let me show you something. I'm going to go to the back of my canvas. So what you want to do is make sure there's an arch. Make sure you really arch it. So instead of it being straight, now the other thing which you could try, if it's a little tricky to do a leaf, what you can do is do a line. So I just did a line there, and then do your kind of, just connect the top and just kind of bow it out and then fill it in. That might be easier to do it that way. So the other way to do it is do a line and then just kind of do your little eyebrow thing on either side of it. But they all take practice anyways, right? Okay, so I'm going to go back. So at this point, you can add your leaves in there. Let's see if I can get this here. I keep messing with the lighting to see if it can get any better for you. Now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to, now that my the flowers themselves had a chance to dry up a little bit, I'm going to look at them and say, oh, where do we need a highlight? And I'm just going to kind of pop a little bit of white so that you can define them a little bit more. And if you feel like one needs to come down into the canvas, you can do that as well, just so that you can see all of the different flower bunches, right? Okay. Anybody have questions? Anybody concerned or confused, or you feel good? Grace, how's your coming? Does it, let me see yours, Grace, if you wouldn't mind. Oh, might be frozen. Let's see, Danielle, did you move it? There you go. There you go. Good, 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 good. I like it. So now if you want to grab your palette knife, okay, this is where you can feel a little reckless and you might not want to do it, but I kind of find it kind of a fun sort of thing at the end. If you notice on mine, see how it has that little bit, it's got a little bit of gray coming down here. I kind of wouldn't mind making this look a little bit more abstract. So I'm going to take my palette knife and I'm going to dip it into the white and I'm going to rub off most of the white, okay? So just a little bit's left, okay? And I'm going to take it and I'm going to just drag that white down from where the hydrangeas came, okay? So it almost looks like the hydrangeas, the bottom hydrangeas are falling off the page. See how I did that? And I'm going to change the camera angle so that you can see a little bit better. There you go. So see how it almost looks like the hydrangeas are coming down? I just kind of smeared them on top, smeared a little bit of white, starting here and then bringing it down to give it just a little bit of interest. And I might even pick up a little black or a little gray and go over it just a little so it has this a little bit more interest.
How do you do that without a palette knife?
If you didn't have a palette knife, what I would suggest is get that big brush, okay? The big one that you have, the biggest one you have, okay? And then really dry it off, okay? So get the extra water off, okay? So you want to make sure you get the water off of it. So a big brush like this. Then you're going to dip it in the white like I did before. And then I want you to really just kind of almost have hardly any paint on that brush, okay? And it's dry. It's almost like you're trying to clean off your brush. And then I would just drag the brush down like that, okay? And just drag it down, okay? Does that answer your question? So just, yeah, just go into it. It's almost like the flowers are bleeding down the page. So they're pretty tight up here, and then they look looser coming down here. So it gives it a little bit more abstract look. And at this point, if you want, you can take a little white and a little black. And if you don't like all this plain sort of blue up here, take your brush and go over it a little. Just kind of tone it down a little bit if you want. Maybe okay, you're back. My internet's froze a little bit there for a second. Hopefully I didn't lose you guys that long. So at the end, if you would like, you can go ahead and paint these edges if you still have some of that blue left over. You could even use black and white and do sort of a gray. Just kind of go right over the edge. So if you want to paint that, you can put a little bit of blue or green. But it is nice to finish the edges like that. And if you want to do a darker blue, you can do that too. And again, if you want to frame them, it doesn't matter if you don't paint that edge. But a lot of times, all it takes is just maybe a ribbon. You could even put a little ribbon on this. You could, hot glue a ribbon to the back of it or tack a little ribbon. And that would be really a cute little little painting to hang somewhere or a cute little gift, right? Hydrangeas are my favorite this time of year. Does everybody have hydrangeas going now? No, I do. But I wish they'd last longer. That's the only thing. And when I'm doing this, I noticed when I painted, I got a little bit of green going along the edge here. That's okay. Just rinse your brush out. Get a little water on the brush. Just go right on over it and smooth it on out. Okay. If you need to edit your little leaf, you just go ahead and do that. Okay. As Bob Ross says, it's happy little accidents, right? I'm going to go back in with a little bit of blue on mine. We're going to pick up some more blue. So this is where you can kind of make it your own, right? And do what you want with it. And remember, go over those little individual flower petals just to kind of give them a little bit of dimension. If you want to bury the leaves, if you need to kind of hide them a little bit, do that. And I'll go ahead and post this on Facebook so everybody can see mine, and I wish everybody else would. If you're a member in the group, put it in the members page. If not, do it under the Create with Jill page. I'd love to see all your work. So it's been about an hour, and before we sign off, let's go back to that breathing again. So if everybody puts their brushes down for just a second, okay? And just know that you can go back to this painting again, and you can pick at it, and you can get a clean canvas and start all over again if you want. The point of all this is just to take 5 minutes to yourself and have some quiet time and enjoy yourself. I don't think anybody's gonna walk away saying it was a huge masterpiece. Mine aren't masterpieces. It's just really, this is therapeutic and fun, and that's what I love about it. It's just so easygoing. Even for me to be able to have the honor to teach you guys for this hour and just have this little break is just a gift. And I appreciate you all joining me for this little time. And I hope you had a good time. And if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you online. And I want to see your pictures. So post, okay? All right, everybody hold up your pictures. Maybe I'll take a little photo of you guys while we're on. I know when I teach these classes live, when I used to, everybody would have their photos up and their paintings up. There, oh, good job. I love it. All right, nice. Okay, guys, well, I hope you have an awesome night. And if you have any questions, email me, whatever. And thanks again. See you later. Bye, guys.